Welcome to the Somos Sunnyside podcast, brought to you by the Communications Department of the Sunnyside Unified School District. Thank you for tuning in while we share stories about the bright side of education.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new season of Somos Sunnyside. That's right, it is season 4. We want to welcome everyone back to another great school year. This is the 26-27 school year. I can't believe that we are 4 years in with this podcast. And you know, again, our goal is to highlight the amazing stories that are occurring in our community, in our schools, and just to make sure that our listeners are in tune with what's going on. You know, our goal here is to be transparent. Our goal is to communicate. Our goal is to be good listeners and really just tell these amazing stories. And we have a great one for you today. In case you're wondering who I am, I'm Jose Castellum, again, the proud superintendent of the Sunnyside Unified School District. This is year 5 for me in this role, and so just very grateful and feel blessed to serve a community who has continued to serve me, you know, or who served me, I should say, for so many years as I grew up in this community. So these individuals here need no introduction. They are very well known in the Sunnyside community for sure, and definitely all of Southern Arizona. And we got the Gallego brothers in the house today. And so, you know, we have, so what's up, Gallego brothers?
What's up, brother? What's going on?
So this is awesome, you know, definitely a sweet moment for me, just because, you know, I went to school with some of them. I was a teacher and a coach for some of them, you know, so, you know, there's like 80 Gallego brothers and sisters out there. I'm only kidding, but you know they do got a big family. It's like the Jackson 5, right?
Yeah,
I just saw that movie this summer too. So we're gonna refer to that a little bit, but you know I want to definitely introduce the brothers. We have Memo Gallegos, or we'll start with the oldest. I'm sorry, Sal. We should have started with you, right?
The wisest.
That's right, the wisest, the veterano, the one that has, you know, all the good habits and bad habits, right? So las mañas. So we'll start with you know, Sal Gallegos, and I'll let them, you know, talk a little bit about, you know, their path here in a minute, and then we have Memo Gallegos, we have Beto Gallegos, and Ralphie Gallegos, you know, and we know that there's other brothers and sisters we'll get to here in a minute. You know, as I was teasing earlier, it's a big family that's, you know, been involved in this community for a long time, and so, you know, I think what's interesting is people know when they hear the Gallego brothers, I think their mind goes in different directions, right? You have the Gallego band, you have Sal, who's a mariachi teacher, and they're all musicians, and you know, all of them have done amazing things. You think of American Eat Company, you know, the things that, you know, Memo and his partners and his team are doing, but I want to give you guys the opportunity to, you know, just say what's up to our listeners, and I want to get right to it. I want to talk a little bit about, you know, I want to bring it back to your experiences here at Sunnyside, you know, in Sunnyside Unified School District. Tell us a little bit about your path, you know, what did you move here? Were you here all along? Where did you go to elementary, middle, high school? And then we'll get into some good stories, as I know we'll have. So we're gonna start with the oldest brother, Sal. So Sal, tell us a little bit about, you know the family. You know, if you guys lived, you know, in the community your entire life growing up, or, you know, how did that Gallego story start?
We moved to Tucson in 1980. So I think back then Beto was a
2
baby.
years old, yeah.
Probably
about 2 years old, yeah, a year and a half.
Yeah, so we moved into the Santa Clara. I went to Los Ranchitos for a little bit. I went to Elvira for a little bit. And we finally settled in like the 12th and Valencia area. And we ended up at Santa Clara. So I think all of us finished Santa Clara, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bulldogs.
Santa Clara Bulldogs.
Yeah,
Within walking distance. We used to walk there every day.
Yeah,
walk there.
through the alleys.
And where did you guys go to middle school?
So that's kind of funny because I was just talking to Coach Fuentes the other day. He had forgotten that Sierra Middle School actually started off as Sunnyside Middle School for 2 years. So the 2 years that I was there, it was Sunnyside Middle School.
That's right.
So my first year it was 6th and 7th grade, and then the next year was 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Uh-huh.
6th, 7th, and 8th grade. During that transition, when they went from K6 to whatever it is now, K5 and 6th or 8. So for those 2 years, it was Sunnyside Middle School, and I guess there was some confusion with the names and stuff, so they decided to go with Sierra.
Correct.
But you guys ended up going to Apollo, right?
Apollo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eagles.
The Eagles. Just me and Gabe went to Sunnyside Middle School. The rest of them went.
So we got some
to Apollo.
Ramsters and some Eagles, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you guys are all Blue Devil graduates, right?
All 6 of us on Sunnyside graduated.
Mhm.
All right. You guys want to share what class you guys are? Hey, don't feel bad. I was right behind you, Sal. I was a year behind you, man. But
It's kind of funny.
I want you to say it with pride.
Yeah.
There's 10 years between me and Ralph.
Yeah, so just give the range.
The range. So,
I was class of 2001, so you guys can do
you do the
you
math.
can do the math. All right. So that puts Sal at like 91.
91. Mm-hmm.
You were what, like 90?
99.
99.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say like 98. Okay, 99. Beto, what were you?
97.
97. All right. So, man, just brother after brother, and then your sister was in there as well.
2000.
She's right in
Right.
between us, yeah.
Yeah.
2000.
Cool.
The bottom 3 1 year apart, me, Ralph, and my sister.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your experience, through the Sunnyside schools. What do you remember the most? Like, what did you enjoy? I remember, clearly, when we were in high school, Sal and I played football together. And Sal was our kicker, man. He just kicked. We didn't care if his helmet was on correct or if his shoes were on. Just as long as he could kick the ball into the end zone, that's all we cared about, And he did, and he did,
Yeah.
So it was recruiting the soccer player to play football, and when we would. I remember, I had a great relationship with your late brother Gabe, and we're going to talk a little bit about, what you guys do now and his memory and I would pick up my brother-in-law, Sergio Lujan, in the mornings because we'd lift in the morning. We'd show up at 6 in the morning to school. Then I'd pick up your brother. Mm-hmm. He's always late, right? He's always like honking for him, but we waited because he always came out with quesadillas, right? Your mom would make us quesadillas every morning, and so we're like, should we leave them? Nah, we're gonna wait. And so it's one of the fondest memories I have, because I think it's those little things that you remember and it wasn't so much the waking up and going to work out. It was like making sure we had our quesadillas and then and I drove a 81 Toyota. It sounds great, 81 Toyota 4x4, but it was a single cab, and 3 teenagers were in the middle, and then the stick shift was right in the middle. So those guys argued like who was going to sit in the middle, right? Because I had to shift the truck. And so, but I want you guys to share your story. In terms of, what do you remember most about growing up? And it doesn't have to be a school thing, but what do you remember most about growing up? And then what impact did Sunnyside have on you? Like when those moments that are just fond memories. So jump in, man.
Well, I don't know. First thing that comes to mind is just a sense of family and just kind of brotherhood. It's just kind of meeting these different friends and and their families and just the influence that you guys just kind of have on each other. And I think all of us, we all try and surround ourselves with a certain kind of people, with a certain kind of love, and I don't know. I think we found a lot of that there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of friends that we made that we still keep in contact with. Not as often as we'd like to, but yeah, just over the years. I know some of my friends I met in elementary school in Santa Clara,
Mm-hmm.
and we still try to keep in touch. Obviously, those relationships I made in high school. I don't know. That's just something I think that, like Beto said, it feels like family.
Yeah.
We've known each other so long.
Yeah, I think we were lucky and blessed that our parents ended up where they did, where we did, growing up on the south side there, because there was a lot of families like us, and
Mm-hmm.
immediately felt that sense of community there, and like we said, made a lot of close friends when we were younger that we still have to this day. I think for me, probably one of the things that I think was the most impactful that I remember the most was you know, once we got to high school and being in sports, you know, that you know, having some great coaches, you know, like, such as yourself was one of my football coaches, Gary Sosa, Posey, and of course Sanchez, you know, and that just brought a whole other, you know, we learned a lot.
They taught the grind, right?
The grind, you know, for sure.
I always remember the saying, you get out of it what you put into it, right?
For sure.
And so that's something I've kept with me throughout my life. And so, you know, I remember coaching Ralphie, you know, I mean, when he was a freshman, and we kicked everybody's butt, I think, that year, right, Ralphie? But, you know, tell us a little bit. And Ralphie's obviously the youngest one, the chipilón of the family, right? And so he's the baby. So tell us a little bit about, you know, your experiences. You know, what do you remember from going through the school systems?
So I remember, so I'm the baby, so I'd get all these teachers saying, "Oh, you're Beto's little brother, Gabe's little brother." I'm not like them, though.
Some connection.
Don't get me confused.
Yeah.
You had to put out the disclaimer.
Yeah. Don't judge me based on my brothers and sister. You know?
I learned from all of them.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it was great. Like I said, I'm the baby, so obviously I was around the schools my whole life, going to all their sporting events and doing all that, and just.
They had it a lot easier than I had it.
You set the road for them, set the tone for them.
Yeah, so and I think well, I mean, I had great experiences everywhere. You know, at Apollo, that's when I started wrestling. We all wrestled pretty much, and I think that's one of the cool things about the district is people who graduate from here always come back and give. So like my wrestling coach, Buddy Lozano, in middle school, right, and then
Graduated from Bellevue High School.
Yeah.
So I think everybody comes back and they just give back to the district, which I think is awesome. And I think when the district has an impact on you want to give back, you know, and come back and share your experiences and try and keep that tradition going.
Absolutely.
But yeah, then once in high school, like Memo said, in football, and you coached me my freshman year, and then we played. We all had a good relationship with Coach Sanchez, and.
You missed the state championship by a year or something?
Yeah.
That's right. He had a great freshman
He paid
year.
it though.
Yeah.
He paid it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We played the one against Chaparral, huh? Is that the one you
that
played?
was a game. I still remember that one.
Oh, I do too. It still hurts.
Oh,
Believe
it
me.
does, bro.
Believe me. Well, you know, I think one of the questions I've always wanted to ask, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners out there probably want to hear this, is like, when did you guys, you know, get your first start, like with music? You know, obviously you guys are musicians. You know, you do mariachi. You have your band. You guys are all super talented. I've seen you many times, and you guys can play multiple instruments. I seriously, I think of, like, when I think of you guys, and this is gonna sound like corny, I think of like Selena and Los Dinos. I think of these people like the Jackson 5, and I think of how families start, like, music in their families, right? Usually starts with the dad, and the dad, you know, the story is the dad's like the hard, you know, being I was gonna use a bad word, but I better not. But just being the disciplinarian, we'll use that word, and making sure you're practicing, and somebody in the family sees the talent, right, and says, "Man, my kids are talented. They have this music talent." So, tell us about the story, how all this started, you know, because you guys have been doing it all your life. I mean, think about it. You know, Sal's obviously teaching mariachi at Desert View and is in the mariachi scene. You guys are all musicians, and you guys are darn good, man. So what's the story, man?
I think it's partly true what you're saying about my dad. You know, he was never like the disciplinary that like forced us to practice or made us do anything.
You were more scared of your mom then.
Oh yeah, for sure. My mom.
I was too.
It was a hard one for sure.
Is she coming?
But I can honestly say that we definitely got our love and passion of music from my dad. I mean, from both sides, because my mom's brothers are all musicians, excellent musicians too. You know, they grew up playing here. But I don't know if I ever met anybody that has a passion for music like my dad does, dude. And that obviously came through in all of us. We just love music from as long as I can remember.
Diapers.
Yeah. One thing we talk about to this day, and we laugh about it all the time, is you know, we we all grew up banging our heads on the couch. You know, we'd sit there on the couch and put music on and just rock our head back and forth with music on. Me, Ralph, and Vanessa especially, you know, would do that from a very young age all the way almost through high school. I'm almost embarrassed to say, man, but that was our way of like, we just loved listening to music all the time. Mm-hmm. But as far as playing, I don't know. I mean, Chavita was the first to give me.
Well, pretty much all of the time. I mean, as far as back as I can remember, there was a guitar around, and my dad taught us a few chords, like Memo mentioned. Our tios were great musicians, so every family party, every get together, there was guitars and music. That's just the way it was. So you can't help but gravitate towards that, and so I think that's where it started.
So when did you guys actually start, like, the band, right? Like, because I'm sure you guys all probably did music like in school, right? Like, you know, you played an instrument in school, but when was it like, hey,
because
man,
of the
let's
age
form a
gap? I
band?
mean, now we look like we're the same age, but yeah, with the age gap, it's kind of weird because I got into mariachi as in middle school, Los Changuitos Feos. That's how I was, introduced and taken to a rehearsal. That's where I started. But if you think about it, I was like 13, Ralph was like 3, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I got into the music scene pretty early. And I continued with mariachi pretty much. That's still what I do. That's still my passion. I was very involved in the community and, you know, the mariachi conference and teaching.
Right.
So I was doing it as a teenage boy. I was pretty much out there and performing already.
Still doing it.
Still doing it, yeah. But like I said, with the age gap, it took them a little while. You know, I graduated school and I moved out of town for a while. So it was like during those years that, speaking of the Dino, Selena and los Dinos, that's pretty much my dad. He got these guys. I think the bass was bigger than Ralph the first time.
Yeah, he
started
like 8 years old. 9 years
I was
old.
about 8 years old when I started.
So they got started more with my dad.
Okay.
And,
But go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah. 'Cause
My dad had a band that he was playing in a Grupo Sonora, right? You know, just a few guys around the neighborhood and Midtown, and me and Ralph would go with him to practice. And we used to love just sitting there watching them. And then when they were like, take a break or whatever, I'd get on the keyboard and start messing around. And I asked the guy to teach me a song, and Ralph would grab the bass or whatever. And then him and I just started messing around with instruments from there. And then I guess my dad, kind of recognized, like, hey, these guys can play a little bit. So next thing you know, he's bringing a bunch of equipment home and say, hey, then we're gonna start a band, man. Said, all right. And me and Ralph were all for it, man.
Were you guys in high school at the time?
I was 11.
You were 11.
I was 11 at that time, but Ralph was 9 when we first started the band. And we actually started doing gigs. It wasn't that far after that. I think I was 12 years old when we played our first bar gig. And my mom was not happy about that.
Oh, right. Do you remember the name of the bar?
Gale's night.
Oh,
Gale's! Right here.
Yes!
That was their first gig.
Hey, Gale's used to be one of our softball sponsors back in the day when I played for
it was around the corner right here, right?
Yes.
On Campbell?
Yeah.
I remember that, man.
Gale's.
My dad picked up that gig somehow, and man, but I was literally like 12 years old, and Ralph was 10 years old when we played that.
And you had school the next day.
Hey, but we were there.
That's right. You're playing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, but then a few years later, we played with my dad's band for probably 5 years or so. Picked up that. Me and Ralph were the only kids. But then there was another guy singer for a little bit, Chino, and then this girl singing for a little bit, and then Joe Armijo was our drummer for a while, another buddy of my dad's. But then once we got to high school, I joined Avatar band. Avatar, yeah. Dave Ravago's band. And then Ralph joined a little bit after that. So me and Ralph were both in the Avatar band for about 5 years. And there, we used to play Bugsy's, We Went Wongs, all those.
I mean, these kids were in high school making money at that time. So it was just.
Yeah, I think I was 15 when we joined there. And
playing
a lot of nightclubs.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. What great experiences, right? I mean, it's so funny because I think a lot of people think, and I think moms are obviously very protective and like, how can you have these kids in a bar and this and that? But you know what? There's a lot to learn from people, right? That have had, different experiences. And I'm sure, one of the things my dad used to always say is, escuche todos los consejos, and you pick and choose what you want to take with you. And so, these people open up like books, right? And they share their stories with you. Anyways, we'll get off the bar topic, but we're gonna go to a quick break, so don't go away. We got a lot more stories to share with you, and we got the Gallego brothers in the house.
You will love SUSD.
From preschool through graduation, Sunnyside District is where students dream, learn, and grow. Enroll today at susd12.org.
All right, we're back. We're back with the Gallegos brothers and just truly enjoying this discussion. And I'm sure you are as well. To all our listeners out there, just learning a little bit about, how they grew up, how they got their start in music, their experiences as students here in the Sunnyside Unified School District. And, one thing I love to point out is we got to continue to tell our stories, right? There's amazing Sunnyside graduates doing amazing things, and we got to make sure that it's out there and people know those pathways. And so I want to we talked a little bit about music. One of the things that always fascinates me is how you guys have learned to play multiple instruments. I have like no musical talent whatsoever. Like I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the keyboard, but I think that's it, man. And like when I see you on the accordion, did I say that right? Mm-hmm. on the accordion, yeah. And then Ralphie's on the drums, on the bass, and you guys are switching up instruments. And so, did you guys learn? Like, is it self-taught? Did you take lessons? Did you know how to read music? I mean, how did you guys pick up on all that?
It's just so I grew up playing the bass like since I was 9, and then being a bass player. It's kind of one of those things like you and the drummer, like you have to be on the same page. And I never played the drums, but I always kind of knew what they should be doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so then when we were in the Avatar band, we didn't really have a drummer at the time. And so I'm like, well, I'll jump on the drums. And we knew another bass player, Juan Hermosillo, great bass player. So I'm like, well, I'll jump on the drums and we'll get Juan to play the bass. And I just from one day to the next, I was the drummer. And I just, obviously had to practice a lot. And but it really, I don't know, like growing up, growing up, we'd always just jump on instruments and just try to play and just kind of picked up on it. I never took lessons or anything like that, but it's just something you pick up on being around music.
You had a passion for it.
Ralph was more my ear. I did go to school, and going back to Sunnyside School District, my sophomore year, I was at Sunnyside, but they were offering a music theory class with Mr. Kelly. Kelly was the band teacher, great band teacher at the time. He was offering a music theory class, so I jumped on it, and now that changed my life because I kind of pretty much I saw the light. I mean, it made music theory at the U of A so much easier. So that's pretty much where I decided to take music get into music as a career. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny. Sorry, little side note here. Because I remember studying at the U of A, and I would go home and be on the piano. I'd have to practice my scales or whatever I was doing, and Memo would be right back there watching me. He was there at the time. He must have been like 11 or 12, and he'd be watching me, and I'm over there busting my butt trying to figure it out. And then I'm like, I give up, and then this guy comes over here and
just emulating you, huh?
He's going to be the
keyboard player.
Yeah, there it is, man. Yeah.
I got a good story about that too. I remember, because I'm a couple years older than these guys, and must have been, 8, 9, 10, and I was trying to put some cartoons on, and then these guys are like, no. They want to watch videos of Bronco and the Tigres, and they sit there in front of the TV and just watch these videos, watch these shows.
They're watching Sábado Gigante with Don Francisco. So going back to, we were talking about, all you guys have had different, musical experiences. I guess that's the right term here. So when did the Gallegos band just come together? When did you guys say, hey, let's form the band?
Well, we mentioned, Memo and Ralph were already playing in the Avatar band, right?
In diapers. In the Avatar band.
At that time, I was still in LA. I was a full-time mariachi. That was pretty much my gig. They went to go visit a couple times, and, we would get out the instruments and jam, and it came up like, well, what do you think about starting our own band? We're thinking about leaving Avatar and doing our own thing. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason I decided to move back. And at that time, they were pretty seasoned musicians already. I had done mariachi my whole life, so it's a different genre. You know, we're doing more at that time a lot of Tejano, Norteño, cumbias, and you know, it's kind of outside of what I was doing at the time. So I had to buy a bajo sexto and get started and learn bajo sexto. I think Gabe really never played in a band. He was still into sports and girls or whatever at that time. So I was like, hey, you gotta bring it over here, and we got him started on the bass, and Ralph was still on the drums.
Because we always knew Gabe can sing, right?
Yeah.
But he would, he actually never
Sang in a band.
Yeah,
Really
in a
did.
band.
Oh,
But we always
He
knew
was
he,
singing, yeah.
he had
was
the
He never
voice.
played an instrument. Yeah. And so we had a couple of the bass players first on that we tried starting with. When we were first going to start Los Gallegos, it was us four brothers where Gabe was just singing, but then we had a couple of different bass players that we tried out. But it wasn't really working. Like, we couldn't find a groove with anybody, like a vibe with anybody. So we finally convinced Gabe, like, hey, you know what, dude, you're just going to have to learn the bass, man. Like, and so we started working with them, and then, yeah, he picked it up, and then it was just, pretty much us four brothers after that.
Yeah, we recorded the first album with him on the bass.
Yeah,
right?
that was, I think we started in 2003.
like 3, yeah.
2003, and then, the first album was up in 2005 or 6, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I still got your guys' CD.
Yeah.
I don't got a CD player anymore, but I have a CD, man. It's like, hey, my favorite one. I need to ask you, what's your guys' favorite song to play? And I hope it's my favorite song.
Oh.
Just don't say La Yaquecita, okay?
How did you know? How did you know? That's it. No, you know what? When I think of that song, I think of you guys.
Yeah.
When I think of the Yaquecita,
You know what?
because that gets people
Oh, yeah.
on that
Oh, no, it
dance
does.
floor.
I was
You're
just
right.
kidding. It's a good song. I'm
So,
just kidding.
Every time, man. I don't know what it is about that song. It just never fails, though, man. Like if you need people to dance, you can always count on that song.
That's
man,
right.
to
That's
do it.
right.
Okay, one more quick story, dude,
All right.
about that song, because it's pretty funny, man. So we were playing. This is actually when me and Ralph were still in Avatar, and we were playing an ASU graduation party in Guadalupe, right, by Tempe, and so it was there on the res, and we were playing all night, and nobody was dancing. They were all just kind of sitting around, just watching. And we would try, cumbia, a little ranchera, some classic rock. We did a lot of classic rock, and they would not dance. We're just watching. And then somebody would come up and say, "Can you play La Yaquecita?" And I didn't know it yet at that time. I didn't know the song, and nobody else in the band knew it. And we're like, "No, I'm sorry, we don't know it, But so we tried different cumbia, nobody would dance. And the second set, nobody danced. The third set, nobody danced. And they kept asking for that song. So finally, on our last break, this is before the phones and Google and all that, right? This is probably in the 90s, like mid-90s. I went to the car and I called my dad and I woke him up. I remember it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I said, "Dad, I need you to give me the words to the Yaquecita." And he says, "Okay, mijo." So I got out a paper and I wrote down all the lyrics. So then we went back out there for our last set. And I just told everybody, look, we're going to play a cumbia in this key, just follow me. And I started playing La Yaquecita, bro. That place, everybody was on the dance floor. Every single one. I mean, it was crazy. And we were looking at each other just like in shock, like, what the heck, man?
That's it, man. It always does the job. It always does the job. But no, when I hear that song, I always think of you guys. And I could hear Gabe's little voice in the background, his voice in the background. So.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, cool. Well, tell us, I want the listeners to hear a little bit about, what you guys are doing now. Tell us a little bit about, your careers, your families. I mean, I think that's important, to, you're getting, make sure you have that family support. And so tell the listeners a little bit about what you guys do, what you guys have been doing ever since, you started your professional careers as well. I would probably say now, music is a side gig for you guys, but
more of a hobby.
But you have your career. So, obviously, Memo, I know you're the owner of American Eat Company, and I remember reading the articles about just these revitalization projects that you started here in the community, and it's I think the other story here is how you guys have been vested in giving back to this community, right? Because you can probably do it anywhere else, and
for sure
you choose to do it here. So tell us a little bit about how that all came about.
So it's been, I guess, 16 years ago now is when I first started getting into doing some real estate stuff. Me and my cuñado now, Jesus Bonillas, he had a background in construction. I had just graduated with a degree in business management. I was kind of looking for something to do. I was working as a teacher actually at Cesar Chavez at the time. And this was right after the crash of 2008, so property values went way down. And again, looking for something to do, driving around the neighborhood one day, and I remember seeing a house for sale for like $33,000, and that just caught my attention, so I went to go check it out, and it was a house that needed a bunch of work, and my wife, now Carissa, is Jesus' sister, she was like, why don't you and my brother do something with this? I bet you it'd be a cool little project. You guys can maybe do something together. So I called them up, went and looked at the house, and and as I said, I guess the rest is history. We didn't actually do anything with that particular house, but that kind of got the wheels turning and us talking about ideas of what we can do, and we ended up flipping a couple houses first, but then we quickly got into doing more commercial stuff. And the way we got into that is it's kind of cool, that I think now, and it's something to be proud of. I can honestly say, because. I remember one of our first tenants that approached us. The reason we got into doing stuff with more commercial buildings, there was a lady by the name of Maria Lopez who had a salon, a hair salon. She had been in business over 30 years, and she was renting a spot up on 12th Avenue, and she had a slumlord, that she was renting from. He didn't want to put any money into her building. Her building was literally falling apart. Like there was mold everywhere. The AC wasn't working. I mean, I could go on, and she was paying rent there. So she approached us like, I would love if you guys can help me find another spot because I just need somewhere that's nicer. Look, this is what I have, and we were in shock. I remember we were like, how are you paying this guy rent and he's not putting any money into this building at all? So we found the building that was for sale. It was the old Tucson upholstery building on Naho, right there in front of Hollinger. And we bought it, fixed it up, and she was one of our first tenants, and she was like super just excited and happy and thankful for that. And from there, we realized like the need for a lot of these small businesses that they need a nice place to run their business, and most of what you saw, like going down 12th Avenue or whatever, was a lot of houses that were kind of converted to commercial, but it still looked like a house, and so we wanted to give them something a little bit nicer, so we just started doing more of that. And then eventually, came across where American E Company is, and came up with that idea, and it's turned out to be a pretty cool, fun project.
It's been pretty amazing, and we want to thank you for always being so generous. When we reach out and say, hey, can we have this event there? You hosted our launch of our bond, and our when we successfully passed our $120 million bond. You hosted our bond party as well, our bond celebration, I should say, and always been so gracious, to host us, and when I go there, it's a good feeling, right? It feels like the community gathers there. It's a gathering spot, you run into people that you hadn't seen in 20 years, or you're in high school with, and so it's a great time to reminisce, and not to mention there's some great food and drinks there too. For sure. I'm talking about like the horchatas and those types of things, right? So, of course you were. So it's super cool, and so I truly appreciate everything. Just you not only by you developing these businesses, but you're also have given other people opportunities and hope, right, in terms of their business ventures and those types of things that are going on, and it's nowadays it's hard. It's hard for businesses to stay in business. It's hard to start new projects, and you're seeing more buildings that are just empty now, and it's not a good look, right? And so I hope that there's more of that to come, especially here in South Tucson, and because it's a great community. So moving on, I want you brothers to jump in. Tell us a little bit about Sal. Tell us a little bit about your career here. I know you're a teacher, but how many years have you been doing it now, man? It's been quite a while. It's knocking on the door of retirement here.
Close. Yeah, pretty close.
Social Security. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I started teaching officially in 2003. Like I said, I did graduate from the U of A with music performance actually. Moved away for a few years. I was out in LA when these guys were like, well, I think we're going to leave Avatar. We're thinking about starting our own band. We're thinking about moving back to town. So that's the reason I came back pretty much. And of course I missed home. I missed Tucson. But, you know, especially starting a new band, we weren't making a lot of money. I had to get a real job. So that's pretty much where it started. At the time, it was Cesar Chavez, Memo already mentioned. It was a, you know, it was a charter school. I was there for a few years. When that went down, I ended up going to Choya for a couple of years. And then you actually reached out
Then you got the call, huh?
I got the call, That's when you were the principal over at Desert View. And you're like, hey,
he was waiting for us.
That's right,
we're
man.
thinking about coming back home to Sunnyside. So that's how it started.
Had to
I've been at Desert View for 14 years now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Time flies, huh?
Crazy.
Time flies. Still doing amazing things, you know, for, you know, giving back to the community. You know, I mean, it's you know, it's full circle, right? It's full circle. So, all right, Beto, you're next, man.
Yeah. Well, I did. We all grew up, you know, with the guitar and all that. And I was looking at the Santa Clara Bulldogs, but I started off there playing the trumpet. Playing the trumpet with Mr. Barrios. Mr. Barrios was Mr. Barrios. Did that. Then went to Apollo and did the trumpet, and with Mr. Godfrey.
Yes, Mr. Godfrey.
He was great. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
And then got to high school, and Sanchez got a hold of me and started doing football and wrestling. And so I kind of faded away from the music there a little bit. But then once he started the band, I started banging some congas and doing little things here and there. But these guys take it to a whole nother.
Yeah. Cool, man. Cool. And Chipilon over here, Ralph. The baby.
Let's see. What do you want to know about?
What I want to know about? I want to know a little bit. So tell us a little bit about, tell us a little bit about after high school, your career, where you went to school, what you're doing now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right after high school, I started at the U of A, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I kind of started coaching right after high school, back at Sunnyside, freshman JV teams. And I was like, I think I just want to be a PE teacher and football coach because I loved it. I was working at the Boys and Girls Club back then, so I really enjoyed working with kids. So I went and got my degree at the U of A, got my teaching degree, and just doing that, teaching, coaching. And then I actually joined Memo and Sal and my mom at Cesar Chavez at the charter school. She's like, I want you to come work over here for me too. So I joined them over there, and then once that school ended, I went to work for a utility company with Southwest Gas. It was a contract company with Southwest Gas. That's how kind of got into the utility business, and I enjoyed it. I missed working with the kids, but I always
wanted to make some feria,
some feria, and back then I enjoyed working hard.
I know. Do you remember me trying to recruit you as a Spanish teacher?
Yes.
You remember that? You turned me down, man. I got one brother, but not the other one.
Picture that.
You
I
couldn't
picture
that?
him as a Spanish teacher.
Muy pocho.
I'm the gringo of the family, right?
You're the güerito.
Yeah, the güerito.
So no, keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
So then I started working with that contract company, and then they were hiring at TEP for meter readers, and at that time I was doing disconnects for non-payment for the gas company, and
you were the bearer of bad
news.
news.
I was the bad guy for the gas company, and that's where I learned how to read meters. And TEP was hiring, so I applied over there, and I started there in 2011 as a meter reader, and then but I enjoyed that too, walking around reading meters. But I saw the guys really making money were the linemen over there, and I'm like, I think I got to get over there. So I tried a couple times, and then I got hired in 2015 as a groundman and so now I'm at TP as a lineman. So I've been doing that for 11 years now.
Wow.
Yep.
Making big money now. I remember hey, I thought they were paying you just to do commercials. I remember you were in a commercial all the time. I'm sitting at home watching TV. I go, that's Ralphie. I'm like, why is he doing TP commercials?
Because he has green eyes.
I know, because he's the only one that was born with green eyes. He had the Justin Timberlake look. So, I want to shift gears here a little bit, and, I want to talk a little bit about, your brother Gabe Gallegos. I mean, obviously, you guys tragically lost him. We all lost him. What is it, 6 years now?
7 actually.
7 years.
Yeah, we
7
just
years
passed
now.
7 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 years, and I think one of the things obviously that you guys have taken a lot of pride in is keeping his memory alive, right? And making sure that you raise money in his name, and you guys have done some pretty cool events where you're again giving back to the community with those. I know we just had a golf tournament, Gabe Gallegos, sixth annual golf tournament or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Gallegos tournament, and it was a huge turnout. And so talk a little bit about that. He was a dear friend of mine, and he was a year younger than me. He graduated in 93. Again, I told you earlier, I remember picking him up all the time and dropping him off, and he never gave me any gas money or anything like that, but I did get quesadillas, so I was happy, man. But, so he always had a ride.
Tell me happy.
So, but tell us a little bit about, obviously, I'm not saying let's get into the tragic story, but tell us a little bit more about your guys' goals, your endeavors of keeping his memory and name alive, and what you guys are doing with the funds and events you have, raising funds, and what's your goal there with that?
Yeah, so it was actually, shortly after he passed that a couple of his good buddies, Java was one of them, who unfortunately is no longer with us either, ironically, but it was him and Rob Lopez, I remember, were two of the main ones that approached me and were like, hey, dude, like, wow, why don't we get a memorial tournament going in Gabe's name? The main idea at that time, for the first year especially, was just to raise a little bit of money for baby Gabe, right? Because now baby Gabe at the time was, I think, 9 years old. He was about to turn 9 or had just turned 9. And just help him out with some money. Obviously, his father's gone and whatnot. And at the same time, I thought it'd be a great idea just to kind of get everybody together, all his friends, everybody who loved him, and honor him and remember him, right? It turned out great. It was a good idea. I can honestly say it was almost like a bit of a healing process for me personally too, because it was just so cool, especially that first year, like to have everybody that loved him most and knew him well, all his closest friends, a lot of our family there, and kind of talking about him and sharing stories. I remember hearing stories out there on that golf course that I had never heard about my brother, and I loved it, man. But we laughed, we cried. It was just all of it, right? And at the same time, we got to raise a little bit of money for Gabe and for baby Gabe. And so we've kept it going, and then we quickly transitioned while we joined the Sunnyside Foundation. They took us on as our fiscal sponsor. So we're technically a program under the Sunnyside Foundation now. We raise money, and our mission is to help for youth sports and youth music. Gabe was a soccer coach. Obviously, as you know, he was a big sports fan too. He played soccer his whole life. He was coaching soccer. He was coaching baby Gabe's team, when he passed. And obviously, with the music, it was just two of the biggest passions that he had. So we figured if we can raise some money and help youth in both sports and music, that's where the money's been going to through the Sunnyside Foundation. They kind of help us to find where to place the money. But it's been good, man. And every year, like I tell you, it never fails. It's just cool to be around everybody that knew Gabe and feel like every year there's new stories that come out, and it's just fun to honor him in that way and do that for him.
Yeah. Obviously, keep his legacy, his memory alive, and bringing back, just people, right? Bringing back, the friends to tell stories.
For sure.
It was cool this year. You had you guys played at American Heat Company. The Gallegos band got together on that Friday night. It was packed. It was like super packed. And then the next morning, I don't think you guys got a whole lot of sleep that weekend, but that next morning was the golf tournament, bright and early. And,
for sure.
And, it was across town, and you guys had a huge turnout, so it just shows, the hearts you guys have as well. You guys are obviously good people and doing this for your brother, and then you're doing it to help kids,
For
you're
sure.
helping kids, partnering with Les Soltero and the Sunnyside Foundation and the board members there. I mean, they do an amazing job of always giving back to the community, and so it's something we got to keep doing, right? And
Absolutely.
I think you got a lot of support, here in Sunnyside as well. And I'm not trying to put you guys on the spot here, but I just thought of a great idea. I think with some of the funds raised, I think we should do a Gabe Gallegos scholarship, which would be cool through the Sunnyside Foundation, the Dollars for Scholars, and we can get with Liz. We can always cut that out if you guys want. I just think it's something cool.
For sure.
It's something cool that we can do. And the scholarship is, you can put the details of exactly what you want. You can say it goes to a soccer player or a Sunnyside athlete, or just leave it open for any kid, And so just to, again, keep his name and memory alive with Sunnyside, school district and Sunnyside High School, and that can go to a Sunnyside kid specifically. So, we can talk about that later, but it just brought those thoughts.
That's a great idea
to mind.
Yeah.
And I will gladly contribute to it. As well, and so it'd be something cool to do. And so as we shift gears again here, one question I always have for our graduates is, did Sunnyside School District prepare you to achieve what you wanted to achieve in life, right? And so I want you guys to think about that question a little bit, and it's okay for you guys to throw in how that how that happened, right? Was it a certain person? Was it a certain class? Was it just your total experience? Or we can have that as a separate question. But my question is, how did Sunnyside School District prepare you?
I guess I can start. I mentioned Mr. O'Kelly already. Was just an awesome musician and a great band teacher over at Desert View. If it wasn't for that class that I had with him, there's no way I would have survived the music theory classes at the U of A. And my first year, I did get a scholarship, academic scholarship. But after that, because of my experience, I was able to acquire, a music scholarship so I could finish. Otherwise, there's no way we could, especially back then, afford college. So I just got very lucky that I was surrounded with those people, and it impacted my life pretty much to this day.
Yeah.
Still what I love to do. I try to pass on that passion to my students, and it's just full circle.
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
much. Man.
Paying it forward, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did a couple years of college. Went, tried it out a little bit, and but Sunnyside I remember thinking back and just having teachers just kind of sit there and what are you trying to get out of life? And it makes you think, all right? I can sit here and I can go hang out with this crowd, or I got to focus here.
The life lessons.
The life lessons. So just having teachers just paint you this picture and just what are you trying to get out of life? And so I did. I had a few of those teachers, and
and the coaches. The culture of Sunnyside at that time.
Forget about it. Yeah.
Sure, you went through all that.
Sanchez was. He was. He just. I always tell everybody, he'll turn a boy into a man real quick. He'll turn a boy into a man real quick, and just teaches you respect your family, your parents, teammates, and just discipline in general. Your teachers. Respect this. Don't be in class acting a fool, and do this, and that was great.
He can convince you to run into a wall. That's how inspired he was.
I did.
Everybody's got a such story. One too many times. Ralph, Memo.
So, for
did
me,
we prepare you, man?
No, you did. So I remember two teachers at Sunnyside that really, I don't want to say college was a breeze, but they prepared you and they let you know.
You can say that.
Yeah. Mr. Heinz. I think you guys said he was on this podcast, right?
He was.
He was such an excellent teacher, and he really motivated us to learn and to take it serious. And
Focus.
Yeah, Focus and Mr. Dye.
And Mr. Dye.
Mr. Math teacher, yeah.
Yeah.
So with math and writing,
Mr. Hanks, yeah.
they really did make college a breeze for me at the U of A,
Yeah.
and excellent teachers, and I have a lot of respect for those.
Yeah,
for those
great
guys.
people who dedicated their lives and careers to this district, man. And so we always talk about, we did have him on the show, and it was so great to just talk to him, and he's still sharper than ever. And I always say, man, he's the reason I was successful in college, because he taught me how to write. He taught me how to write essays, right? And back then when I went to college, a long time before you guys did, but essay writing was a big part of your classes, So, Memo?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think for me probably was the most impactful was just being the sports, just going through the grind and the toughness and the camaraderie with your buddies, and kind of doing that together as a group and working all towards a goal. I mean, it's funny because you mentioned Sanchez will convince you to do whatever, but just a quick story on that, because I remember once I got to high school, I had been wrestling at Apollo, and doing some freestyle stuff like outside of the school, and my older brothers had wrestled at Sunnyside, so I was excited. I couldn't wait to get to Sunnyside to start wrestling. And it was literally my freshman year, my first day of school, and it was after school, and I was in the locker room putting my wrestling shoes on, getting ready to go to the wrestling room. And that was the year that Sanchez took over the football program, because he went from wrestling to football that year. So he sees me in the locker room putting my wrestling shoes on, and he goes up to me and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm getting ready to go to practice, coach, putting on my wrestling shoes. I'm trying to tell the story without using any foul language.
Paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing. Yeah. But he said, he pretty much said, "Nope." He goes, take those shoes off, man. Go put some cleats on. We're going to the football field. Yeah. And I have so much respect for him as I said, okay, and
let's go,
and that was it. And I never wrestled at Sunnyside. I just played football, man. But I have no regrets, man. It was just being a part of that, and the discipline of because he had us working year round, weightlifting 2 days all summer.
He had us coaches on the same schedule, man.
Yeah.
It was hard to coach it with him too, because it's just, when I look back, it's just such a commitment. But that's what it takes to be successful. That's what it takes to win. You gotta it's a commitment, and you gotta do it consistently every single day. And it's funny. Every time I run into Memo, I always tell him, he was like, Wheelo, he was lifting weights, working out hard, but he was still giving up, 60 pounds, he was playing tight end for us and going up against guys that were 6'6", the Schaefer brothers over there at Sabino, and he was blocking guys that were like, blue chip athletes, 5-star athletes, and I remember when he got rolled on, and he had that, broke your fibula or fractured your fibula, and I was like, darn, man.
Yeah.
And I think that was your senior year, huh?
That was my junior year.
Your junior year.
I was out for the season, because that was a scrimmage right before the season was going to start.
That was a scrimmage.
So I was out for the season there,
Yeah, but man, he put his nose between the numbers, and he was blocking, man. So, well, any last shout outs, man? I kind of always leave the floor open to, as we wrap up here. I mean, I've truly enjoyed having you guys on, and I'm sure the listeners have truly enjoyed this, but any last shout outs? Anybody you want to give a shout out to? I mean, I think you guys covered it. We always talk about, everybody has a story, right? When they've gone through their educational journey, and it's always, we all have influences, whether they're good or bad, but I think we all focus on the good ones, and it's a lot of times it's a coach, it's the art teacher, the music teacher, it's the counselor, that person that just cared about you. I remember when I was in high school, our cafeteria ladies, they made sure everybody ate, Miss Vanover, Miss Garcia, like they made sure that we were fed, and those little things that matter. And so, one thing I'll say about our district is we take care of our kids, and so, it's a priority. We want to continue to do that, but we also want to push them to, reach into their potential, and tap into their strengths so that they have wonderful careers and provide for their families. And And so, but any last shout outs, anybody you want to shout out, anybody you forgot?
Well, the one that comes to mind, because it is one of those full circle kind of things, Raul Nido. He was my principal. I mean, and he was great, man. And now
he was our principal, Sal.
Yeah,
our
principal.
principal.
Yeah. Now his daughter is my boss. She's
I know, man.
Now, so it's pretty cool to see that, man.
Yeah.
Because him being such a good guy, such a big influence on all of us, all the things that he did for the district, and not only Sunnyside, but the district in general. The Noche de las Estrellas, it's still around.
Yeah.
Different form or whatever, but I think it's pretty cool to. Speaking of full circles, those things, she's doing a great job over at Desert View, and I'm glad to be a part of that team.
Cool. Anyone else?
Well, I gotta give a shout out. It is my daughter's birthday today, Sabrina. Yep, she's 16. She's turning 16.
16, man.
So yeah,
she's driving.
Oh yeah.
You better buy that car insurance, man.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Go ahead, Memo.
No, I was just gonna say, just thank you to the district and the community that did raise us, man, and for you guys for all the great work that you guys are continuing to do. With this, podcast. I mean, sharing all these stories. Thank you for having us on. I truly appreciate that. We're honored to be here. I mean, I don't even know that we're deserving to, but we're here, man. I appreciate you guys having us here.
You are, man. You guys are a big part of this community. All the Gallego family, shout out to the rest of your family,
Yeah, my mom and dad.
Vanessa, your mom and dad.
My
Your
sister
dad's
Vanessa.
Your dad's a great guy. He'd come knock on my door and would have conversations here and had some big ideas. And so, it's been great, and so we want to truly thank you guys for coming on. And, one thing I'm really looking forward to is we're going to do a big remodel at Sunnyside High School. We passed that $120 million bond.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I heard about that.
There's going to be a huge renovation there, and we would love for you guys to come out when we have that ribbon cutting. Maybe we'll have the band reunite and play a little bit that night.
Let's do it.
Right?
Sounds good, man.
So we'll definitely get together, and so again, big thank you for you guys coming out, sharing your stories, being a little vulnerable, and sharing this with the community. So. At this time, we are going to sign off, and that's this. This concludes this episode of Somos Sunnyside. Hasta la próxima. Thank you for tuning in to Somos Sunnyside. We hope you've enjoyed hearing these amazing stories that showcase the bright side of education and the incredible things happening across our schools and throughout our community. Hasta la próxima vez en Somos Sunnyside.